hear me?
Well, I can hear you, but I'm on the phone.
Well, you know, I mean, come on, Sherry.
Somebody say something.
Okay, well, Sherry's going to run this one since she's going to interview me. And so I'm just going to sit back and don't mind me while I eat lunch. I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
No, let me just explain. The reason I wanted to do this, first of all, Sean Collins is supposed to join us today, but unfortunately Sean had a conflict come up. So he's going to come in another time. I've got to coordinate with him on scheduling. So he will be back, and he's awesome because, I mean, he and Missy Ward founded Affiliate Summit, and they do these awesome conferences. And can I say awesome 5 more times? So, but what I found last week when I was at the conference in Las Vegas is a lot of people wanted to know how I do things or what I do. I didn't realize people had that much interest in me, so I guess I'll be one of the expert interviews. So that's going to be the theme today. And Sherry knows me pretty well, probably better than most people.
I won't go too far.
Don't. I won't answer it. I'll take the fifth. It's my Fifth Amendment right. I can't incriminate myself. But, no, I'll be candid. I have no problem with that. So, Sherry, take it away.
And I'm Sherry. I'm at Real Life Sherry, S-H-E-R-I, and I've got Hootsuite open on my iPad, so if you have any questions, too, that you want to ask Maya, feel free to tweet them, because Maya's the only one who can see the chat in the room.
Well, I'll tell you if there are questions. I'll tell you as they come up.
Yeah, I just meant I can't see them. So
it's the control freak in me. I won't give you full control.
And people ask me all the time because they see us travel a little bit together around on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. So, they'll ask me, so what's up with Maya? What is this hip roof thing? What's going on? And so definitely I think the questions are out there and people would like to know, who you are. And so I'll start with just some basics and then we'll, get into it. But just some house cleaning on our interviewing series. Every week we're going to be interviewing an expert who's got knowledge, experience, and expertise in their certain market and going to share what they can with us and how to sell more real estate and interact better in social media. So if there's someone that you'd like to see us interview, just go ahead and send us an email at thehiproof@gmail.com. And when I say us, that's basically Maya, but you can also tweet me.
No, it's you and it's Shantae. Shantae checks email too.
Yeah, well, I'm not so good at it. I've got lots of my own email. But if you're watching this as a recording, go over to the forum in the Hip Roof, and that's thehiproof.com, and look in the forum, and you can post a question there under this event, and one of our experts will come back and answer it. And we've got Margie's name still on the slide, but as y'all know already, today it's Maya. And for this webinar, questions will be taken over on the right-hand side in the webinar screen where the chat is, and you can also tweet me, as I said. And this webinar will be recorded, so if you miss anything or want to hear it again, you can find it at the Hip Roof. And if there's any questions that are not answered, just feel free to post them in the forum under this webinar, and we'll get back to you. What's that?
I said tweet.
Oh, so I said take a breath. No, I'm just kidding. Use the hashtag THR, the Hip Roof, for any tweets during and after this webinar, anytime you want to mention the Hip Roof. So, all right, let's get started and let Maya talk. So, Maya, how did you initially get into social media?
I tripped on it.
I know.
I tripped and fell into it.
It fell on us, one of the two.
I know, right? Well, I guess there's 2 incarnations. I started with BBSs when I was like 10 or 11 and was always that dork in that space. And I liked it because people, I don't know, I guess my friends didn't really know me, and it was sort of a new place to meet new people and kind of be whoever I wanted to be or really be me versus the the person that I was amongst my friends in school environments. And when I moved to Long Island, it was a great escape, and having like chat rooms, bulletin board systems, and meeting people that really were forward thinkers and not just sort of in the same mold that I was, because I always compared my high school to like Beverly Hills 90210, but it was Old Westbury 11568. And, you know, like a friend would crash his Corvette and get a new one the next day. It was just like ridiculous. And it was all very, my Mercedes is bigger, my grass is greener, my kids are whiter, my polo is better, whatever. It was very Long Island in the 80s. So, yeah, I wore a Video Club sweatshirt one day that I got at Bloomingdale's, and I was taunted for a year because the Video Club, they were the total dorks. We weren't like them. So that's when I went completely underground with all my computer activity. and then was web designer and developer for a long time and stepped out of it completely just from burnout and came back when a friend of mine, Ethan, I saw him in early 2008, and he was busy on his BlackBerry, and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, it's Twitter. I was like, okay, what? Tell me. I've heard this. I've heard of this thing called the Twitter. What exactly is it? So he was a mobile producer at CBS, and he showed me, and that was about it. I had been so resistant to technology that I didn't have, what didn't I have? I didn't have a smartphone forever. Okay, you know what? Totally don't start with me on that. Because trust me, I am.
A question we all want to know, why don't?
Well, yeah, hit me up on that one later, because I will tell you the move to Android is potentially in the next week. Because the BlackBerry is now doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and I'm not going through the forget it, RIM. I give up. I give up. I know it's Facebook, but I need Facebook because I do the social media thing, so I can't keep deleting the app. Facebook doesn't play nice with BlackBerry. I get all sorts of messaging errors, and it crashes my phone. And now when I go to try to dial numbers, it'll just have this P sitting there, and it won't let me go out from the P's, and I have to go through my address book. So anyway, I'm done. I'm going to Android. The question is Epic, Evo, or I just saw this Galaxy thing come across Mashable today, so I'm like, ooh. But anyway, so that's how I got started with them. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do more research, but I just got started at that point in time, and I started out as Maya 311, and I'm like, people aren't going to know what that means, and I'm like, okay. A friend of mine was like, oh my God, you're such a real estate guru. I was like, hey, that works. So I went with that and just started going from there. I get it, though. It's a matter, I think, understanding the interactions, the community, and the communications, and it's kind of just second nature to me, going back for 30-plus years. So, and I'm a dork. I'm such a dork and a geek, and I have so much fun. So.
Well, it's a good outlet for that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm a communicator. I like connecting with people. I like talking to people, and that's what it's about. And I think that in general, people that are in the social spaces are looking for conversation. They're looking to talk to somebody. Life can be really lonely, and you can't talk on the phone if you're at work, but, you can text, and you can do all those kinds of things and have interactions. And sometimes you just need to break away from the mundane and the everyday and do something, which is why I guess a lot of people like that. I'm pretty straightforward and frank. And really, truthfully, I think that life is wonderful, and we create our own realities and outcomes, and whatever you believe you're possible or can be done. Anyway, it's just positive, and happy, and whatever you want to happen in life is going to happen if you believe in yourself. So that's me.
That's you on social media.
That's me on everything, but yeah.
And I know the answer to it, but, what is it that you enjoy most about social media? I mean, are you into Facebook? Do you do much on any of the other social media platforms other than Twitter, or which ones are your favorite and why?
Oh, gosh. I'm a natural for Twitter. I absolutely love it, the openness and just finding new people and seeing interesting things. So for me, that's fabulous. But, yeah, I mean, Facebook, I like that, too, for different reasons. But, yeah, I mean, Twitter, they call me the Twitter queen. It's not the only thing I do, but primarily it's what I'm known for. So, I dork around with a lot of things. I consult. What?
I was going to say, why is it that you like Twitter more than some of the others for you personally?
That's a really good question. I like to be vague sometimes. I like to say things that I'm always thinking. Actually, it was funny because we were at dinner the other night, and Bud Chesky, we saw him waiting to get some food to go. He's the COO and president of Coldwell Banker, and I was like, come sit with us. And he sat down. You know, it's like 12:15 at night. We had our big VIP party. The convention's over, and he sits down. We all started talking about stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, so I have this idea. And he just looked at me and he goes, do you ever stop thinking? I paused for a moment. I thought about it. I went, no. So, you know, it's just fun because sometimes I'm just going through a variety of thoughts and processes and how does this work and why is this happening, and always analyzing and overanalyzing stuff. So I guess Twitter is fun for that because the things that start me thinking might just be simple statements, and sometimes I'll put them out there on Twitter. And I also like to just meet other people and connect and share, and it's such an open forum, and I'm very random in how I find people to follow. I'll just like do a keyword search and say, hey, they're talking about this, and that's interesting. So, you know, it's kind of the random nature of it to some degree, and the ability to connect with other people locally or further along in other places. So.
Well, you know that I think that that your website or your blog is pretty much the center of where your business and social media hub needs to be. And I know that you blog a lot, and so do you do that because you have to, because you like to?
I don't do it as much as I should and as much as I want to. I just don't have enough time. I'm constantly thinking and writing and, you know, refining my thoughts, and that's the problem. Is I do better in the written word because when I try to communicate verbally sometimes, I'm constantly evolving. So you've talked to me, Sherry. I talk through the process. Like, okay, so I want to do this, but then wait a minute. So maybe we need to do it this way. So it's just like this evolution in thought. So it's better for me sometimes in writing, and just some really like odd concepts or vague things sort of evolve and develop. I don't blog because I have to. I blog because I like to. I wrote a lot in, I started writing actually when I was 10. I wanted to write a book, a novel, and I started writing a story about a kid who went time traveling back to the Victorian era because I was obsessed. I used to read like a book a day as a kid, and I worked on that for probably 4 or 5 years, and it was just, it was fun, and it was, you know, I would type it up on the computer and print the pages out, and that's what I did. And then I stopped, and I wrote a lot in high school, creative writing classes. I actually will confess that at certain points in time in high school, I wrote papers for other people, and they paid me. So I would get paid based on the grade they got, and typically it was an A. Of course, when I wrote the same paper for the teacher, yeah, well, no, and when I wrote the same paper for the teacher, I would get a B, but, you know. And then when I went to college, my freshman English professor did not like my overly descriptive writing style. He wanted me to take it back and be less whatever. He wanted me to be concise, straight to the point, and just follow the basics. And you can't really rein me in like that. It's very difficult. So I actually ended up, I think, I do believe I did not get a sufficient passing grade in freshman English. I think I got a C-. So I had to repeat it. And I argued with the guy because I had been doing honors writing and other creative writing classes and getting very good grades. So at the next school I went to, I actually took a creative writing class, and the professor stole my journal and published some of my pieces, and I stopped writing at that point in time. So that was it. That was, 1990, 1991. I was done. So blogging is something that I've done for a while without really realizing what it was, anonymously on some sites and some communities. I was a community manager at one point in time, like, I don't know, 10-plus years ago for iVillage. And that was fun. You know, I like doing that and kind of dorking around there. But so I love writing. I don't have to do it. I don't do it as much as I should. I have tons of stuff I haven't put out there, and it's just more of a matter of, do I have time, because I still do have a full-time real estate career. So, you know, and that is my income-producing activity, so that takes priority.
All right. And I'm the same way.
Like,
You're always telling me to write, and I'm like, yeah. I could write about what happened on the last Dora. They did just build a house. Hey, whatever works. What are the top 3 things that you think anyone should do in the social spaces? I mean, talking from a real estate agent standpoint and not just in general, you know, if agents could only do 3 things right now, what do you think that they should do?
In general, and everything?
In general, in
like
social media, if you said to get involved, like right now, like what should I focus on? I only have time for X, Y, and Z right this minute. What would be the top 3 things that they should focus on implementing right now?
Oh, my gosh, that's easy. You need to have your micro-local, forget hyper-local, micro-local blog giving local market statistics information to buyers and sellers, preferably having your own IDX feed and ability to kind of capture leads. And you need to write fresh content at least 3 to 5 times a week, and it doesn't have to be huge things. But you need to be found using lots of keywords for your local area. You know, take your geo farm and translate that online and serve that community through your website and blog, and then connect that back to Facebook with a page, not in your name. Who cares if you're a real estate agent, people? I'm not going to fan you. Make pages that serve that same geographical farm, realizing and recognizing, too, that that's not just going to be for you as an agent. Hopefully other agents will come into this space, but share it. And that's another place to sort of broadcast those things, so you could kind of put your blog post through to that as well. And then I think that Twitter is probably a great place to then use as sort of a distribution point to put that out there as well. So that would be my recommended strategy if you didn't have a lot of time. And, you know, time is essential. It's time management. This doesn't replace classic prospecting. It doesn't. It's just a new tool. And that's, yeah, that one won't get into the big fight right now, Goliath versus Maya. But that's it. If you're not going to recognize that people, the phone has changed. I actually had this conversation with my friend Whitney Hoffman this morning. The phone has changed. The phone is not how we communicate. The phone is now urgent communications. It's kind of interesting. We don't just chat on the phone as much as we used to anymore, unless you're driving and it's something to get you between point A and point B while you have spare time. The phone is how you're urgently reached. Text, Twitter, email, Facebook, that's how we communicate regularly now, because it's not demanding, it's not intrusive, and it's not rude. I mean, a telephone ringing is almost rude. Don't just call me. See if you can call me. Text me and say, hey, can I call you now? And you know I do that to you a lot. I don't just pick up the phone and call.
Like, are the kids okay? Are you all right? Can I call?
Yeah. But it's, yeah, and that's it. It's what's good, what's works, because it's my schedule's so crazy. People know if they call me, I can't answer the phone. Don't even call me.
Right.
Just, yeah. But so I think that's key, and that's essential, is to understand what form of communication the people want. You know, when you have a client or a friend who's working in a cube farm at a bank or a tech company or wherever the case may be, calling them on the phone is not a viable option. I mean, when my phone rings, I'm like, oh God, what's wrong? You know, it's either a client, and the only calls I have to take, I know, are coming from my daughter's schools. That's it. Those are the only essential calls I have to take during the day.
Right. Well, you know, I have 2 different phones and 2 different phone numbers, and if I go somewhere that I don't need to be bothered with work, I have my one phone that I take with me and leave the other one where it's not. So,
you're more disciplined than me.
Jumping into a, you know, something that's been going around the internet here in the last few days, and I think that may be a misconception, too, as well. As you pointed out, that none of the social media replaces any of the conventional marketing methods that we still all have to implement. And in my opinion, I mean, you know how much of a strong advocate I am. I've never backed down to that. in one discussion. And so I think that there's a lot of people who are questioning, and I've been asked it a lot, and I've had other people ask me about you, how you feel about it, of is social media the only thing that people should be focusing on? Is it and I'm referencing, quite frankly, the Mike Ferry, Matt Ferrara debate, which staged, whatever it is that, the bipolarness of one versus the other versus is there something in the middle? And what is your stand on it? You wrote a really long blog, but for those of us who don't read very well or have long attention spans, break it down for us for a minute.
What, in the coaching and the thing, or what's going on?
No. no, as far as, is social media the way that we need to go? Is that the answer to real estate marketing? Or do we need to avoid it and only spend maybe 10 minutes a day on it? Or is there something in between that? Where's your stand? The hard questions.
It's I think that this is an essential place for us to be. I think that agents need to be disciplined and understand the reasons why they're using the social space and tell me, guide me if I'm not answering what you want. It's not the magic bullet. It's not the cure-all to everything. It's not the magic thing that's going to make the business come back and change the industry. It is just where the consumer is, and I will stand by. I've been saying this since I did one of these governors' conferences, and I said it to room of small business owners. There's 2,000 consumers in the next room talking about real estate, and they need help, and that conversation is happening, but you're ignoring it. You're putting your hands over your ears, and you're going la 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 la. Those are the people that say that there's no value to it. Excuse me. Those are the people that say, it doesn't work, I don't need to be there. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. From nearly the first day I've had a real estate search, and I've been able to pick people out asking for help. People now come to me from across the country. And I don't mean agents. I mean consumers. What's your opinion? What should I do? My agent's doing this. My agent's not doing that. Okay, great. I'll get an advice column. But if you're not going to go into that room and you're going to ignore that business, fine. I'll take the business. I don't care. I mean, I'm trying to let people see the value, and that's what I'm upset about with Mike Ferry. He's dismissing it unceremoniously. He's dismissing it without really understanding it. I don't know why, because his son Tom embraces it like crazy, and Tom gets it. But I think that there's this mentality with agents that they're like, okay, I'm on Facebook, I'm good. Really? Is that useful? Those are just the people that you know, versus a Twitter that is this huge open community, and LinkedIn to reconnect with people from past lives. Because I always say it when I go to speak too is, hey, how many of you guys are like in real estate since your first job? And it's usually 2 or 3 hands in the room, and they're usually second generation or third generation. It's the family business, and that's fine. But we all came from somewhere else, and you have to tell people who you are and what you do and remind them. And that's great for Facebook, and that's great for LinkedIn. But I think Twitter is the one place that you can make new connections. You get out of college, you get out of high school, and you don't really have places to meet new people now, unless you go to the chamber meetings, unless you do all these other kind of things. And who has time? So unless you're making time for stuff like that, then I look at like Twitter and I look at social media in general as when you have the time, it's a great place to potentially make that connection. And that connection can turn into business. And there's tons of business out there, and they're asking for it. So, it's essential. It's a new tool. And, I'm not the first person to say, oh, please, that won't go anywhere. And in, I don't know, the late 90s, a couple of my friends were like, what do you think of this Google thing, or whenever it started? I was like, oh, please, Alta Vista is so much better. And, should I buy stock? I wouldn't bother. So, yeah, I was wrong on that one. But, you can be wrong. But the thing is that It's never too late to reverse your position. I think Microsoft used to say the Internet was a fad and wouldn't stick around, or the web was. I mean, the Internet's not a fad. ARPANET, all these things have been around forever. But, you know, the web is a fad. It won't be here. Well, we can all be wrong, and it's just a matter of admitting that we're wrong. I mean, Twitter could be gone tomorrow for all I know, but something else will be there. And it's just a matter of, you know, trying to make the connections and, you know, helping other people. It's just not about talking and having a conversation. It's finding people that you can connect together so that they can benefit each other, and also just, you know, being involved. Okay, wait, we've got some questions.
I cannot.
Maria wants to know, what?
I can't see them.
I know you can, so I'm going to read them. Maria wants to know, does Maya have an assistant that helps her with social media? God, I wish I did. Actually, I put a posting out to the University of Delaware about a month and a half ago to get an intern. And Chantel is her name, and we were supposed to meet on Friday, but then I rolled the trash can over my foot, so I couldn't even think straight. I was in so much pain. So I had to reschedule the meeting with Chantel, and we're going to meet later in this week. So she's going to be coming in. She's in the marketing department. She's a straight A student, and I was really just impressed with her resume. So Chantel's going to come in, and she's going to start helping me with stuff. She won't tweet for me. She won't do stuff. She's going to help with marketing and things for the hip roof. She's going to help with probably scheduling and probably also keeping track of my emails that are getting buried and lost, because I get people that send me things and ask questions, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I got an email 3 weeks ago, and I didn't reply, so I'm just a big giant, you know, ass for not answering. So, yeah, it's gotten to that point, and I can't hire a staff per se, but that's also why I'm building my real estate team. So, you know, and then Thomas says, people need to understand that social media is a tool. Well, Thomas, you're a tool, so I'm just kidding. How you use it, how you use it, what makes it useful or not. Absolutely. It's just another tool in our tool belt and arsenal. So, you know, but that's right. It's if you don't understand it. And it's kind of like, people ask me all the time, like, why do you want to share this with everybody? Wouldn't you not teaching them and hoarding this, like, you know, it's all my candy, go away? Wouldn't that be better because there's more business for you? Thomas says, I'm not a tool. Well, yeah, I guess, but what the heck's the point? There's plenty to go around. I mean, really, well, if you find success, it's so nice to share it with other people, because everybody can use a leg up at some point in time, right?
Well, and, you know, quite frankly, there's a large group of them who aren't really ever going to do it anyway. So sharing with
but I think it's going to get to the point of time, though, where it's going to be the primary tool. And I think that, you know, it's a matter of how far behind are you going to be or not. You know, I mean, I started doing web design and development in '93, and I taught myself HTML, and I did it until 2002, 2003, and then I completely detached. And, you know, it's like with technology. If you step away from coding and you step away from the tools and things, it just keeps going forward, and you're left in the wake. And I think that's what's going to happen with social media, because where it is now versus when I got onto Twitter 3+ years ago, wow. I mean, you know, the things you could see in the stream that you don't find now. When I did real estate searches, the column wouldn't necessarily even be full. I would see somebody say, hey, I got off a plane, now I got to go find a place to live. And now it's like real estate, real estate, real estate. It's like, you know, they're just, and it just drives me crazy when most of them are just, here's my new listing, here's my new listing on Craigslist. It's like, hi, are you going to have interaction? No? Okay. And that was one of the things that Jen Blue, and I ended the video that they shot of me, their last comment was, hey, no, I'll take your business. And yeah, I will. Why not? If I see it, if someone needs help and they want help and someone else doesn't want to have it, it's like Sherry with that whole thing in Raleigh. Remember I showed you how that guy was like sitting there going, I don't understand. And I'm like, right there, dude, there's a lead. You grabbed it.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the things, too, is it clearly, social media, whether the tool used for that being Facebook or Twitter or whatever avenue Jessica uses, YouTube, if that channel were to go away, I don't think the type of communication that the new generations are experiencing and using are going away. My 3-year-old Skypes her dad when he's out of town. She knows how to get on our touchscreen computer, push the button, and she yells, "Daddy, where are you?" And that's not going away. She's not going to backtrack and decide, you know what, I don't want to use any of these tools. I'm going to go back to calling on the phone. So we need to learn them so you're not behind. You're not logging on to Twitter today and you're starting from scratch, or starting your Facebook page today, or even 2 years from now when you say, okay, so maybe this isn't a fad, and starting a blog, and the other agents have so many keywords that you could write till you're blue in the face, but you're so far behind you're never going to catch up. So I think it's important to, be getting involved.
You can't worry about catching up. I don't think you can worry about catching up. You've just got to jump in where you are and start swimming. I mean, you can't catch up. And people look at it like, oh, my God, she's got 20-something thousand followers. Oh, my God. Well, I mean, it took a long time to get there. It doesn't happen overnight, but as it starts to grow, it kind of almost goes exponential. It's like the Richter scale. But, I mean, that's the one thing I noticed is, like, it took me 2 years to get to, like, 5,000, and then it was like zoom, and now, I've kind of been sitting in the same 2,000 range. The growth has been a lot slower in the last, 6 to 9 months. It's kind of funny to watch it, but I don't really watch it all that much. I just follow people. They follow me back, or they don't follow me back. I unfollow them, But, it's just crazy. No. But,
well, and it is exponential because, I just reached 4,000, and then the next thing you know, I'm at 4,050 like 3 days later, and it was like, wait, I've been, sitting around for months waiting,
Well, you know why that is? Because, but here's why that happens, and I get this, I get it, and I'll share it. It happens because it's perception. People are like, it's not about the number, it's about the quality. Yeah, okay, that's right, sure. So people see somebody who's got 10 followers, and they go, Or they see somebody with 20,000 followers. Who are they going to follow? Well, that person must be interesting. I look at more than that, but I think that's in general how people are viewing it. It's value. Value is determined by popularity. It's something that's always been in our culture. The popular kids in school, the popular clique in school, what do they offer? And I guess because I always straddled the universe of I was a geek and a dork, and I preferred learning and science and math, but I looked like I could have been the popular girl, and I hung out with those people. But I also had an affinity towards the more studious. It's just I was able to bridge the two worlds nicely, so I've always like kind of felt like I was sitting on a perch watching and observing and studying interactions like I'm a, real-time anthropologist. I don't know. What's her face? The lady with the gorillas in the mist? Like Diana Foxy or something. I'm just watching you all.
You're the gorillas, right? That's not us.
I'm watching how the little monkeys play, but it's fun. I love people. I love meeting people, and it's just like I could sit there for hours and listening, and it's just funny too when I hear like people like, oh my God, she's a bitch. What? Why? Because I say what I think. I don't say what I think to hurt people, and I'm totally sensitive. Sherry, hello, you've seen that. I don't say things to be mean.
Oh, really?
I say things. Overly sensitive, hypersensitive. I was a crybaby as a child. Thank you very much. I pick up on people around me emotions, and it just drives me crazy. So, if someone's sad or upset, I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? They're like, shut up. There's nothing wrong. And I'm like, oh, really? It's like, don't lie to me. I know. It's just, it's a Pisces thing. But
well, and I think on things like Twitter and Facebook, people don't really necessarily know what tone of voice if they've never met somebody. And, I'm very frank. You're very frank. And sometimes that can come across as the wrong thing.
Well, nice to meet you, Frank. Well, yeah, but you know, you're right. But that's I've written about it so many times, and I talk about it all the time. And I've been teaching this since the first time I taught somebody how to use a computer in a real estate office in 1986. When you are typing something, when you are putting the written word down, there's no inflection, there's no intonation. You don't know what someone's mood is. So you have to be really careful of the message that you're sending. And when people think that what I'm saying is intended to be negative or hurtful or any of those things, it isn't so much a reflection on what I'm saying. It is more what they've internalized within them. Because unfortunately, and it's so sad, so many people are unhappy in life. They don't like what they do. They don't, you know, all these other things that come into play. Money is worrisome, and, you know, you can't control everything. No matter what's happening, all you have to know is it can get better. It will get better. I'll try my best. All you can do is make do. Every situation that happens in life, I really believe in serendipity. Every situation is something that we're going to learn and evolve and become better from. And my father, as much as he's a psychiatrist and, you know, therefore a little bit crazy, I love my dad, but he was an advisor at Stanford for a long time when I was a kid, and I used to listen to some of his advice, and some of my friends would go to him and talk to him when I was in high school. And one piece of advice he always gave me was that make sure you love what you're doing, because you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. And that used to be the mentality. And I've jumped from a lot of different careers and places, but I have to say that I love the experiences I've had. I love what's coming, and it's so awesome to look back at the little connection points, or points of ignition as I call it, and see if I hadn't done that, this wouldn't have happened. And I've gotten to the point where one of my biggest lessons in the last 2 years is when I most feel like not doing something, when I really just want to sit home and just not go to an event or go see something or listen to somebody speak, I'm like, oh, God, I'm so tired. Okay, I said I'd go, I'll go. And that's usually when something amazing happens and I meet somebody or I connect or I introduce to a new concept. It's like you just have to be open. And sometimes we just want to just be left alone in a little hole and go away. Because honestly, I mean, I would be so happy sitting by myself. This is what I wanted to do, believe it or not. In 1995, my goal was to get a job at Microsoft programming in an office by myself where I didn't have to deal with people. I wanted to do Microsoft. Push the food under the door, leave me alone, and let me just do my code. Because computers are easy. They don't play with your head. They don't lie to you. It's just straight up, you know, in code. You control it, and you know what your results are going to be. So,
well,
do you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had the screen up here, you know, talking about the need for professional marketing help, and that leads me to the hip roof, and obviously that is assistance in doing social media and mastering it as well as many other things. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the hip roof and why it is that you started this?
Oh, okay, the hip roof. For a couple of years, I wanted to create a real estate educational community, you know, a place for us to all go, talk, mastermind, share. And I didn't really have the technical skill anymore to do that because I had detached from coding and programming for such a long time ago. So I had a couple of different people that were supposed to work with me on creating it, and life happens, and they couldn't get to it. So I was complaining about it to Chris Brogan, and just because you know, as a friend, he's awesome. I was like, well, I want to do this. He's like, well, why do you need somebody's help to do that? You're capable of it. You know this person. And he's awesome. He's always like, you know, just stick the flags in the sand and march towards them. Just try. And he's right. If you want to do something, just try. And what happens if you don't succeed? You fail. You learn. You try something else. Just keep going. So I kind of basically like listened to his advice. That was like last April, and I put like, you know, 5 or 6 flags in the ground, and I just started marching towards them. And it's like, what hits first? And of that list, I would kind of, when I would talk to him occasionally or email, I'd be like, all right, well, this is going well, and this happened, and I'm still frustrated because I can't do anything with this. And, so he was really good for, kind of hey, refocus, look at it, and keep going. So it was, awesome, mentor, coach, kick in the ass. That's what I needed. And so I'd refocus. I'd move forward. But the one thing I couldn't do was the website. And I just forgot. I saw your battery draining. I'm like, oh, God, I thought I was plugged in. And so, it just sort of out of nowhere, he just started asking me tons of questions and talked about, real estate and pricing and things like that and what does he do in coaching and stuff. And he's like, okay, well, I've got this company and we can build this and partner with you. And I was like, wow, really? So, that was the end of June, and he's a busy guy and his companies are busy, and and it kind of evolved from there. And in the concepts of the educational communities he was doing, so Hip Roof was based more along the lines of 501 Mission Place and kitchen table companies and the forums and, the e-book. I've got the e-book nearly done. Eventually I'll actually get that out there. And then it was supposed to originally just be all my content. And it's I couldn't. Are you there? My phone's being weird. Are you there, sure? Okay. And I couldn't do all that content on my own. I didn't feel comfortable, so I think I slowed down, and then I kind of got the free for all for adapt the community to how you want it to be. And it's really about everybody. It's not about me, because I'm strong in some areas and I have good ideas in some areas, but other people are strong in the same areas and have other good ideas, and then other people are strong in other areas. So to make the best community, that's why I want so many people involved in it, and that's why I want people masterminding, because this is just a platform for all of us. Yes, coaching is going to become part of it, because we're talking about doing that. And that to me is really important, and I started having conversations actually with Tom Ferry about that last summer. And, how do I do coaching? How do I build that business? And Tom gave me a lot of great advice, and he's a great guy. He's a smart guy. So he's even told me to back off his dad on a few occasions. So, that's it. This is the beginning. I want this to just sort of be the premier place, because I hear too often from agents saying, someone's telling me I should do this or that or the other thing, and I don't understand why, and I don't understand how. And those people have never sold houses, and I think it's so difficult if you don't understand federal fair housing, and it doesn't matter, because I'm too Americentric with this, and after meeting so many awesome people from Canada last week, whatever your municipal or license laws, wherever you are, you need to follow all those things, and understanding and interacting with people that are in the same space and the same constraints is essential. So, there's lots of free webinars and there's lots of free information out there, but that doesn't mean that it's valid or valuable for us. And I think that, bringing all these people that are doing such amazing things together, like you, and we got Chris Nichols, and let's see, we got Nobu Hata, Bobby Howe, we got Christoph Chu, Benjamin Bach, like everybody, every member of our site, it's so essential. We got Thomas Cunningham, Mr. Smart Guy. But everybody is essential, and everybody is going to bring some other perspective, and we're all going to be that much better and productive because of it. So that's really it, is sharing it. Because
I think that's
the best business for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's an essential point, too, is that a lot of the experts in the Hip Roof all do have some differing opinions and can bring different perspectives into it, and sometimes even the discussions that take place lead to everyone learning and different perspectives being brought in to create things that are even better.
Yeah, and that's one thing I can't wait to do. I want to start doing these small group mastermind calls and coaching calls. I want to start having these half hours, because we've got conference calls and we can do blog talk radio. I've got all these different platforms. I want everybody to get together and go, okay, what are our challenges this week? What are we trying to figure out? How is this not working? Or here's what's working for me. Because you got to always evolve, and you have to be open to new things. And you always have to be able to look at yourself and also take criticism. And I love that. I love it when people tell me, hey, I don't necessarily agree with how you did something, and I think you should do it this way. Or even when my clients say, I would like you to do this way, or handle something in another way. You know, you can't be everything to everybody. You can't be the right agent or person, and you can't get along with everybody. Chemistry and things exist, but recognizing that you can always improve is important, because when you think you're perfect and you can't get better, guess what? You're going to fail. You're always evolving. You've got to grow.
Right. And, you know, as a testimony to that, you may or may not even remember, but that's kind of how we met. That was the first question you asked me in real life, even though we'd never really talked much before then. You said, so how was the talk that you did at bar camp? And you were like, tell me honestly, I want feedback. And I was like, oh, yeah, really? Here, let me give it to you.
Yeah, and that's it, because, you know, I mean, that day in Raleigh was such an epiphany, because I wrote something on the plane because I was doing the opening remarks. And then when I got there that afternoon with Eleanor, I looked around the room and I went, no. And I changed it, and that night, you know, All-Star Mom 3, she and I were in my hotel room because she didn't have some more to say. I'm like, crash here, dude, it's fine. And so, like, up till 1 in the morning writing something. And then that morning I got there and I looked at the crowd and I go, no, you know, you've got to feel the crowd and, you know, what do people want. So it was just, I just kind of wanted to know how it went, and too many people are going to be too quick to say, oh my God, you were awesome, I loved everything you said, and then they turn away and go, oh my God, really? So I'd rather somebody tell me, because you can't get better. And that was one of the best things last week, was to get really great, honest feedback from some really successful business people and agents, and that's, you know, from now on I'm going to start off saying, hey, what do you guys want to know? Rather than just going in there and planning something, I'm going to ask people what do they want to get out of it, because that's more important. I want to give them what they want, not what I want to give them. If I want to talk, I can talk. But I want them to feel like they got value and that I gave them whatever they came and they want to take away from the experience.
So
does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's, you know, kind of very similar to what I think agents need to do in market research. I mean, you can't just, if you're going to mail or you're going to tweet or you're going to Facebook, you can't just decide what it is that you want to tell people. You know, what is it that the consumer wants to know? And that's very similar to you in the speaking arena, is understanding what is it that, you know, your customer wants to know. And so I think that conveys along all lines.
Well, yeah, and you hit on something really important right there, and that's the fact that, you know, we're not marketing experts for the most part. Some of us might have come from those areas. You instinctively get it, but I think that what agents forget is that we have to earmark some percentage of our earnings and put it back into business development and growth. And part of that might be hiring a marketing company to help us come up with a uniform strategy. You know, a clear message. What is our value proposition? What do we bring to you? Why do you need us? And, you know, we tend to jump around too much and not focus. And I think that the mega agents are focusing, and they're disciplined. You know, they're doing script practice. They're making phone calls and everything they can to add value to their career. And I think that's the difference, is you have to take it seriously as a business, and you have to have a plan, and you have to have a strategy. If not, you cannot reach the level of success that you want to, you know? So I think that it's essential, too. You know, somebody like a Margie Clayman, hey, hire a marketing company. Hire an ad agency. Earmark some money for those kinds of things. Automate some of your systems and use the resources available to you, because your time is better spent, you know, so, you know, that's really what it is. You know, you've got to decide, what is your time worth? How much money can you make making a phone call, prospecting, calling for sale by owners, expires, and all these other kinds of things, versus what value it is in doing research on technology and places like that, or how do I market, or let me design a new postcard. Let somebody else do that. If that's not your skill, if that's not your talent, if that's not what you used to do, you don't need to deal with a learning curve. Pay somebody, outsource.
Well, you could also do that, and then I think that some of the benefits of the hip roof is the in-between of that, where you can come on there and ask other people who have gone through it, what kind of marketing pieces do you do, what works for you, and what works for you on Twitter or Facebook or whatever they're looking
Bingo.
at, and can get a response from other people who have tried stuff, who have been involved, who have spent their time researching different things and also implementing them and knowing what works. So I think there's the mid-ground between just going out strictly and hiring an ad agency, but then also having a resource like the hip roof where they can come in and say, hey, what do you use for printing your cards? But
that's the thing too. I used to be a graphic designer, and at some point in time, if somebody's like, hey, I made a flyer, what do you think of this? I'm happy to look at it and give you an opinion. I mean, I was trained in college as an editorial and graphic designer, visual psychology, all those kinds of things. I used to do GUI, graphical user interface design and things. So, I mean, that's the strength and something that I do. And yeah, that's the whole point, is the community to share. And that's why no vendors, no advertising. Because I want people to come in and talk honestly how they feel about things. Because I know I have a relationship with a lot of different vendors. And it's hard to say, hey, no, you can't come into this community because it's not for you. Because if somebody's not happy with your product, I want them to be able to talk about it freely. And if I want to share something about a competing product, I don't want you to feel like in any way that I'm not your friend or I don't like you. And that's part of the reason is that safe space for us,
Right. Oh, absolutely.
It's supposed to be a safe place, free from advertising, and, we're not trying to sell you anything other than the community and the value. When the ebook comes out, it's going to be awesome. And with the coaching and when things really start moving, I mean, we've got over 1,000 posts already in the community. And I was looking at kitchen table companies and 501 Mission Place. They don't. We don't have the same member numbers, I think, that either of the sites have. I mean, they're not exceptionally higher than we are, but we have so many amazing active people. Nikki Beauchamp with her technology and tools, and Dana with the photography. Forget about it. I mean, we've got some of the top people in the spaces. Gosh, use those resources. One person's way is great, but when you've got like so many different contributors, I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's surreal.
Right, and I mean, I think that is one of the major benefits of the hip roof is that there's a number of people there to get an opinion from. It's not just one, and I think that I'll tie back into controversy of the Mike Ferry, Matt Ferrara thing, and I know it's totally staged in my opinion anyway. I mean, I get that they were, trying to.
No, you know what? Let me modify that. It wasn't staged. It was. Matt said they had one conversation, and that they were supposed to kind of like go along a specific line, but that Mike kind of went out there, and I was sitting in the front row. And I think overall delivery, Mike did a great job. I mean, he's a performer. He's really good. He's a great motivational speaker. We need to be called out sometimes, and sometimes his truths are what we need to hear. And I think that's the case with anybody, and that's when sometimes, people don't like what you say because they don't want to hear the truth. But I think in that case and in that instance, Mike is so unwilling to consider social media for whatever reasons. I mean, I've been trying to engage him in that conversation since last April. So it's been almost a year. It's valid, it's valuable, it's essential, it's important, and he is dismissing it without even, consideration. When he says, nobody wants to know what you had for lunch, and he stood on stage and he said, why do I want to connect with people that I went to high school with 35 years ago? Well, I don't know, Mike, because they all need houses and places to live. Why wouldn't you? It's business. I mean, forget about it. We're real estate agents. Our job is to help people buy and sell houses. And if you don't tell them, why be a secret agent? And that's exactly what it is. If you're not out there connecting with people you know and telling them what you do, you're a secret agent. And that's pointless. How is it any different than what Mike tells us to do in calling our sphere of influence, in reaching out to past clients, in making phone calls to expireds and using scripts? You shouldn't be reading a script. You should be internalizing it. You should know how to handle it. And I did this with Kim a couple weeks ago, and I said, okay, what are you doing? She's like, I'm calling expireds. Okay, let's do one. And she went through it with me, and she was kind of going by the script, and I knew I threw her in some of my responses when I was acting as though I was the homeowner. And she's like, wow. And I said, no, here's how you handle this. You got to connect with them. You have to sympathize, understand, be compassionate, share the experience, listen to the things they have to say, and then, you can help them. Thomas says no script, just be real. But absolutely, Thomas, you're right. That's my point, though. You have a basic understanding as a new agent, and they look at these scripts, and it helps them know the flow. But at the same time, when you're being real and you're talking to people, you still want to give them two choices. Would you like to meet tomorrow, or would you like to meet Saturday? Not, hey, would you like to meet? When you can have a no. I mean, there's some things that are just smart. There's still sales in getting the appointment. And my team's point is always, we want the appointment, we want to come into your house, doesn't mean we want to list your house. We want to help you make a decision. So, and that's what it is amazing. Life is about helping other people. That's it. And sometimes helping other people is that they understand you, or that they understand themselves, or they understand choices, because it's the mind. I mean, you were a psychology major. Hello, the mind is one messed up little place.
It's not mine. What are you talking about?
Oh, I know. You're perfect. No, yeah. So, yeah. So that's me in a nutshell.
Right. So we know which side of the argument that you stand on. And,
I just think Mike Ferry needs to be open. He's doing a disservice to his customers. He's not letting his coaching clients see that there's this whole new space for them to expand their business into. And I'm sure he'll get there. It's just a shame that whether he's using it as a PR thing to build business or whatever, he needs to get there.
Right.
And you can't rely on one coach.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree. I mean, and even relying on just one coach. I mean, as I had learned to do real estate throughout the years, there were several people that I engaged with and learned from, and there are certain things that they speak about and train that can be implemented, and certain things that another one might train and encourage to implement that might work as well. But we have a very well-rounded business, so we can probably take little from lots of people and implement it. But
yeah, just learn from everybody. Everybody has something to share and teach us. So, and that's key, is just knowing what to ask and knowing what to listen, and taking ideas and strategies and implementing them and how they work for you. That's it. It's like you just explore, try new things, and so on and so forth.
Well, how can people, or how can other people get involved in the Hip Roof, either from a standpoint of being somebody to learn from the Hip Roof or to contribute to the Hip Roof? Because I know most of the contributors, and they're excellent, and I'm sure there's going to be others that come along the lines, or people even who listen to this webinar later who have lots to contribute, who want to know how to get involved, and people who may manage and train other agents who want their agents to get involved in the training that the Hip Roof has.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, we're working on some alignments with a couple of other companies as far as educational platforms. We can brand forums for businesses, for brokers, so that if they want to have their own proprietary discussion in one place, then company ABC can have their own space but also be part of the big community. Anybody can join who's real estate agent, mortgage broker, title, real estate attorney. I mean, the people that deal with us on an everyday basis. And then I have the whole office leadership section, which talks about retention, recruitment, and the things that agents don't need to know about because it's a different place for the broker, or manager. Everybody's welcome, and I think that what happens is that when I read something that's really amazing, I can promote it to an article. And if you want to blog on the HIP Roof, let me know. And it's for everybody at every level. As Coach Bergen would say, is like, who's your buyer? Our buyer, honestly, are more probably the people that aren't even in the social spaces as much. So we don't have any way to reach out to them. I mean, I need to basically get a commissioned sales force to take the message out there. And that's what I'm looking for. So if you love it and you're part of it and you want to help share it, let me know, because we're doing that with an actual commission. And because it's about growing it and making it big, because the more people we have, the more fabulous it'll be, and ideas and solutions, and just as everything evolves. So anybody can be an expert contributor, and it's more or less, I'm watching, you're watching, the other members are watching, and people say, hey, I love what this person did or said. And, you could be strong on Facebook and weak in some other areas. Well, then great. Own the Facebook section, but post questions. That's the whole point. Are you confused about something, you don't know how to do it? Post a question, and somebody will answer it. Just think of it like any other help forum or space, and, if you wanted to try to figure out how to use a piece of software, you would go to their help desk, or maybe you go to a forum and post a question, or look for somebody who's already done it and search for it. It's the same thing. And then, we're growing, we're evolving. We're having the twice weekly webinars, and we're going to start adding in probably mastermind calls. We're going to add the coaching piece in. The ebook will also have a course that goes with it. And just the really awesome stuff is coming soon. Right now it's just the community, which I don't want to demean or belittle, because the community is amazing. But, there's just so much more coming. It's ridiculous. And we just need to get people there. They're not, and it's hard. It's hard. It's just spreading the word, but everybody who's there. And I think the worst part of it, though, that I'm seeing is people sign up, and then they're not coming back. And then it's going to be just like that. They said I should be in social media. Well, I joined, and I didn't get anything out of it. You got to come in every day for 10 minutes. You got to see what the conversations are. You've got to post questions. It's there 24 hours a day. And, use it. If you don't use it, you're not going to get anything out of it. So that's my primary frustration. I think that just people need to get in there and use it. And there's a cost to run it, and the software, and I do all of the back-end maintenance and systems and building the forms and moving posts and things. I'm the sole admin. Human Business Works has a stake in it, and but day-to-day operations are on me, on you, on Shantae, and on our members, because it's their community. It can do whatever they want.
And I think there's a lot of really good things coming about soon with a lot of the new members that are coming in because of Gen Blue and the ERA conference and being out speaking. You're going, you just spoke at Explode, which exposed it to a lot of people. There was the Inman article. I'll be speaking at Reboot, and there's bar camps coming up, and you'll be speaking at RE Textile. So I think there's going to be a lot of new membership coming in. And I'm
doing the Baltimore Sales Blitz tomorrow.
Right.
So, yeah, and that's it. Come in. Get involved.
Yes. Right. I mean, right now, it needs to be out to the people who are not involved in social media yet, who can learn from the experts in the group. And so I'm looking forward to having those additional members coming in soon.
Me too. Me too. So, well, Sherry, I have to get going. I've got a settlement.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Those are good things to have to go for, and we're at our hour. So, anything else you want anyone to know about you or the HIP Roof?
No, but guys, ask questions if there's anything you ever want to know. I'm just a real estate agent who loves social media and shares it. So, hey, hit me up. If I don't get back to you fast enough, hit me up again, because just get buried. You know, I'm a real estate agent. I'm building a team. I'm a mom. I have 2 girls, and I take them to school and pick them up from school, and I'm traveling, and I'm trying to share the social media. And you know, so if you want something or need something from me, hit me up and stay on me till I get it. And you know, I just thank you so much. Everybody's so great, and I'm so lucky to have all the friends I have, and keep sharing and helping other people, because there's so much success to be had for everybody. For everybody. So, and don't get frustrated.
Yeah, thanks for sharing with us today, and I'm sure we'll hear your voice again like tomorrow or another day.
I know. I love to talk. I do love to share. Seriously, I mean, God, if I could do it all day, I would. It's so much fun to help other people see the success they can have, and that it's possible, and coaching them through that. So I just love it. I'm really so lucky, and I'm so happy. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You rock,
Thanks
Chicky.
for being here.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Have a good one. We'll get this up. And Thomas, mentorship. Yes, mentorship. Mentor somebody. Find somebody. Help them. So, all right. Thanks so much. And get in the forums. Thank you. Bye.